Hola, good afternoon. It's Angelique again, and I'm doing a little bit of a part 2 to the first vlog that I did, which was telling you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. What struck me after I did it was that I actually haven't told you why I'm doing it, which is hugely important. Otherwise, how do I relate to any of this stuff? Why I would want to step out on a field with a load of other women and play rugby. So I was born in London. I was raised up until around my early teens when my family then moved us down to South Devon, which was a shocking first year, but settled in, love it, wouldn't live anywhere else. Beautiful place to bring up your kids. And I met my husband in 1999, and we got to know each other, and in the throes of all of get to know each other, obviously I found out that my husband played rugby. Now I went and watched him play rugby first couple of games and was horrified. I could not believe human beings would want to do that to each other. Turns out they do. But effectively, at the time, it was a certain level of rugby that, you know, perhaps wasn't the level of rugby or the type of rugby that we see today. Definitely not. However, it was fun and we did have a good time. And until 2005, I did a lot of socialising in the rugby club, and I had a really good time. In 2005, I had a daughter, and my beautiful daughter has now been introduced to rugby and has been playing for, she's had about 7 seasons, I think. She's now in the under 13s and you know, loving life, really enjoying it. So why do I do it? Why do I talk to people? Why do I ear bend about female rugby? Because of her, and because of actually all she's taught me whilst doing it. She's had to play with boys up until the age of 11, which is absolutely fine, and you know what, it's necessary, because mixed teams at a young age, I truly believe, are some of the, particularly in a sport called rugby, is some of the best form of socialising your children will ever have. Because of the physicality of the game, it breaks down all sorts of boundaries, and really has made her a better, more rounded child with a very good heart. And I put that down to, yes, as parents, of course, you know, we do our best there. But I'm a big believer in a village raising children, or it takes a village to raise a child, and I do believe that rugby club has played a key part in the person she is today. So the reason I'm doing this is because, having got involved with female rugby and having played for a few seasons now myself, I've discovered that there needs to be a voice, but there needs to be a voice not of the authoritative nature, and we have some fantastic CRCs, or community rugby coaches, and we have some good RDOs, who are the rugby development officers, who are the representatives of the RFU, who visit grassroots rugby and try and point you in the right direction and help with funding and all sorts of other little bits and pieces. There needs to be a voice. There needs to be somebody who says publicly, and if possible nationally, you know, have you thought about this? If you are thinking about playing rugby, or if you've even, you know, even some places don't, there's no rugby, you know, clubs, you know, what's stopping you? I feel very passionate. I've heard lots of emotional stories about women, and I do believe that whilst we are in all shapes and forms equal to men, I do truly also believe that we are different too, in lots of hugely special ways. And women playing rugby as a team, I believe, have different motivations for men playing rugby as a team, unless you're getting into elite sport, and then that's a different subject altogether. We'll discuss that at a later date, I'm sure. But at the moment, this is about grassroots. This is about a group of local women who decide they're going to get together and form a rugby team. Now, the club needed to achieve something called an accreditation under the RFU, which is to tick boxes to say we're doing what we should be doing with our children, particularly, as well as the adults. And in this accreditation, there was something that said, you know, you need what's diverse, or, you know, what are you doing to increase diversity within the club? And the most natural thing to do at that point, and why I was approached to get involved in that, was women, because we live in the part of the world where, and we're poorer for it, we don't have much cultural diversity here, and we are poorer for it. It's a beautiful world with beautiful people, and unfortunately Devon has its own beautiful people, but not a beautiful world attached to that. So so I said, yeah, I'll get involved, I'll help, thinking all the way along the line, you know, eventually, you know, Ava is going to need a squad or an exit route from the boys. What I didn't expect was just how much I love it, and just how much I've learned so much from the women that I play with over the past few seasons. Anyway, different subject that, but that's why I do it. I do it because of my daughter. Now, women out there who empower their children, and particularly their daughters, all power to you, because in this day and age, girls are tricky. I thought it was tricky when I was a teen, but wow, you know, because you've got all this other influence, haven't you, from social media, and you know, I see lots, and lots that probably friends wish I didn't see, but they're growing and they're learning and they're developing too, and I see things and potential problems in teenage girls, and I'm very interested in what keeps teenage girls on the, for want of a better term, the straight and narrow. You know, how do we get our girls to college or university fairly balanced, and being able to handle the world in a way that we feel, you know, will keep them safe. And that's the thing, isn't it? We want our children to be safe, and we want our daughters to be safe, and our sons, but you know, our daughters as well. So where I am with it right now is a bit of a fight, not necessarily with the club, because the club back it up 100%, but really with the numbers of girls that are playing. You know, we need to play teams, and without those teams locally, there are no games, and without the games, then there is no way of expressing and aerating, if you like, all the things that are good about rugby. I think it's important for parents to understand about sports and understand about individual sports and what's involved in them, and then draw from that what they think their child is getting from the sport. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because my daughter's involved, and because my daughter wants to go to the local college and do their rugby programme when she's old enough, and because my daughter has told me, and bear in mind she's quite young, this could change dramatically, but she's told me she wants to play for England. So, you know, it's my job as a parent, and the fortunate situation that me and my husband are with him coaching and being quite involved, how we can then tell people that are not involved how to get involved, get their daughters involved and get the most out of their rugby journey. So I wanted it on record that I am doing it for you, Ava.